am so excited to be here today to do our oils and emotions class. This is a subject that is so near and dear to my heart. And I am telling you, the lineup today is so amazing. I feel so honored, honestly, to be amongst the women that are going to share how they use the oils, their stories. It's just going to be, I think, a really moving and incredible class. So we are going to be talking about the starter kit. I think most people here have the starter kit, and if you don't, whoever invited you here, definitely reach out to them after the class. It's the easiest way to get started with Young Living. It's the 12 most used oils, diffuser, all the things that you need. And we're going to be breaking down how we use all of those oils specifically to support our emotions. So for me, I know a lot of you know me, but I used oil to support my emotions prior to my son passing. But really when my 2.5-year-old son, River, passed away about 4 months ago. And that's when I really got to dig in and really understand how oils can support you in really deep emotions. I also was diagnosed with PTSD as well. And so I've used essential oils for both of those things, and they have been so supportive. So just a little science behind how essential oils actually scientifically can support your emotions. Your limbic system is the part of the brain that stores all of your emotions. It stores memories, and it's affected by scent. So just like if you smell something and you're brought back to a specific memory, or you smell something and it reminds you of someone, that's because that smell is actually triggering your limbic system, the part of the brain. So that's how you can actually use essential oils to support your emotions. And also, because of the molecular structure of an essential oil, it can pass the blood-brain barrier. So from your nervous system to your neurological system, literally essential oils can reach parts of your brain that synthetic medication can't. So they're really powerful ways to support your emotions with essential oils. So that is enough out of me. We have such an incredible lineup tonight, and I'm going to pass it off to Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. So glad to see you and so glad that you're here. I am so honored to be here and honored that Gina has trusted me with you all. So I just want to share a piece of my story to kind of tell you how essential oils have helped me emotionally. So 11 years ago, me and my 2 oldest children were in a propane explosion in a single wide trailer. We were rushed to the emergency room and then to the Augusta Burn Center here in Georgia. And that was the 4th of June. On the 7th of June, my 3-year-old son passed away due to complications. And I was in a medically induced coma for 35 days and didn't know that my son had passed away until I woke up and that conversation happened. And all the while, my physicians had been pumping into my system Prozac via my IV so that when I woke up, my emotions and my issues would be leveled out. The problem with that is it made me have this flat affect to the point to where I couldn't deal with the issues of losing my son, the issues of looking at my 4-year-old daughter who had burns on 65% of her body, having to learn to walk, talk, and eat and breathe on my own again. And I just wasn't able to cope with that in a healthy, productive way. And so I stayed on the antidepressants for a very long time afterwards. And let me just tell you that although those antidepressants seemed to work at the time, they suppress something in you that needs to be addressed and dealt with. And because Gina and I share a very similar story and the PTSD of the events that occurred, there was a lot of suppressed guilt and a lot of suppressed emotions and sorrow and grieving that came from that. And because of that, it has made me manifest a couple of other issues in my life. I need to control things, OCD to the extreme, some major control issues down to the point that it affects my everyday life. And so essential oils, just within the last 18 months of me using them, I don't take Prozac. I take absolutely no antidepressants or other emotional supports. I use completely 100% the oils from the starter kit, and I'm starting to add some others in, but I started at the starter kit. And I have my emotional regimen and routine that supports me. But just not being able to deal with the grief early on in a healthy way, and now having to deal with the backlash of that 11 years down the road, and the fact that I'm still grieving and I still deal with these emotions, but now I have a healthy way to deal with them, has completely revolutionized my grieving process and how I deal with the backlash of that grief. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you're new to this, there's an awesome lineup coming, and you're going to learn all about these amazing oils. And I'm so excited for you to be able to learn this. So I'm going to turn it over to Grace.
Hi, everyone. I hope the internet holds out. We've been having some spotty stuff happening, so fingers crossed. Yeah, wow, this is like already such a powerful testament to like how people have used the oils. And I am talking only because Gina asked me to. So I am going to be talking about peppermint, lavender, and thieves. I'll just start with the peppermint. I brought the bottles. You probably know what it looks like. It's just a bottle. It says peppermint on it. But I'm a visual learner, so I brought it in case. So, you know, I just kind of sat with this and was like, oh, like, I'm like, essential oils for emotions. Like, how do I even do that? Like, what do I do? And I just thought, like, you know, it's really interesting to see that, like, in daily life, like, without even really thinking about it, I use a lot of these oils to support emotions, but I may not necessarily know that I'm doing that because I tend to be an incredibly empathetic, super emotional person as it is. If anyone cares about astrology, my sun, moon, and rising is Pisces. And I have other Pisces in my chart. So I'm kind of in it, like a little bit immersed. And so I had to sit here and think, like, well, how do I use these oils for emotions? Like, what do I do? So peppermint, I'll start with. So peppermint, I've always felt like is just really cooling. Recently, I went and got a treatment for my back. I have chronic back pain, and I've been working with that. Working with somebody, actually Kim, who's going next, her fiance has been helping me with my back. And one day I didn't have other stuff with me to put on after the treatment. And he was like, here, have some peppermint. And I was like, okay. So I put like straight up peppermint on my muscles. And I was just like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Like, it helped me so much. I didn't realize that like straight peppermint oil could make such a difference. And it hugely affects my mood because my back hurts like a mother all the time. And so to put it on there and to have like such intense relief, I was like, dang, this is amazing. And like, not only just like cooling and energizing, especially mixing it with citrus and putting in the diffuser in the morning, it seems like it really enlivens the air. It makes me feel like more available to the day. It makes me feel more ready. And I also will use it for breath, which is great. And just like one drop though, because seriously, I did this with too many drops and it gets into your throat and you're like, oh, how does anyone ever tolerate this? But like, I just put one drop like on right here on my hand, and then I'll just like lick it off and wash my hands. And then I feel like, okay, I have one drop on my tongue. It can kind of like spread out and it makes you so fresh and it makes me feel more confident. I'm like available to the world. Like, okay, yeah, like my breath doesn't smell whatever. It's like, you know, you're here and you're now because you're ready. So I really like that. It just feels refreshing. At one point I was at this workshop and my husband was having stomach issues. And this was like before I really knew much about Young Living. We were in New York. And this woman who was a Young Living distributor was like, I have peppermint. Let me put some in your water for you. And he was like, okay. And like, I'm like, this crazy oils lady is like coming over and putting peppermint oil in his water. I'm like, that's not going to do anything. But like, it seemed like it actually helped him. And these days, like, I will put some peppermint in my water, but I would just say for me, like, disclaimer, if you have it in like a water bottle, like shake that up, because it can sit on the top and then you get it in your throat and it doesn't feel great, but it's really nice and it can definitely take care of tummy issues, which helps again with emotions because you're supported. Lavender is probably like the oil that I started with ever. Before I even knew anything about Young Living, I had a bottle of lavender oil. I've always used it for like calming to the nervous system, relaxing, even on sore muscles. Again, one time I didn't have anything else and I put lavender on and I was shocked. It helped me so much. So if anyone has anything like that and you just want to put up straight up lavender oil into that stuff, it's really amazing. Burns, I had a burn on my hand the other day from cooking. It wasn't super bad, but I had a roller top on it and I just rolled it on and it made a huge difference in a short amount of time. Put it in bath salts, put a few drops on your hands, rub it together, wipe it on your pillow. It's just like all around supporting. It makes me think of babies. It seems really gentle. It's calming. I feel pampered. And then I really only have 29 seconds, which I can't believe because 5 minutes goes really fast. But the other one was Thieves, which is amazing. I actually took some Thieves the other day, put it in my hand like this, rubbed it around and wiped it on my hoodie like this. And I feel like $1,000,000. It's like so incredibly supportive. It smells so good. It feels like it's just like clean and fresh and incredible. So yeah, and it cleans everything. Like it's so incredibly like anti everything. So just putting it everywhere, having it everywhere, diffuser, everything. It's so amazing. All right. So that went fast, but here I'm going to pass it off to Kim, who happens to be sitting right next to me.
Hi. Hey, everybody. I'm Kim. I'm also another Pisces. I saw people texting that in the chat too, which was really fun because I really relate to the emotions being a Pisces and how much, you know, we can feel as human beings. And I'm doing Valor and I'm doing Lemon and I'm doing Citrus Fresh, and Valor was the second oil I ever used. The first oil was Thieves, but Valor was the second, and it is my all-time favorite oil. So I'm so excited that I get to talk about it because I just feel like it's like, you know, if you had like a spirit oil, like a spirit animal, I feel like that's my like spirit animal oil because I need it so much. Like I have high anxiety. I can be really sensitive to situations and have a lot of emotions. And I just feel like it just helps balance me out. And it's that name, Valor. And it's like, oh, that's foo-foo. It makes you feel braver. But like, it actually does, you know, it actually really helps me in that way and just helps ground me and give me confidence. And I've used it on my wrist for probably 10 years. It's been my perfume, so to say. And I love it. I wear it every day. I stopped wearing perfume and I did that. And I was actually a professional actor for a long time, for years. And I got so nervous at every audition. Like it just like every time, I never got used to it. No matter how many sets I was on, no matter how many auditions I did, no matter how many cameras were in my face, I got nervous every time, like to an extreme degree. And just, I did it before every audition. I just would smell it. I put it on my wrist. I would just smell it as like everyone else is doing, you know, like Unique New York and like vocal exercises and like trees and stuff. And I'm like, you know, like in the bathroom. And it really helped me. It was amazing. And so that's like my go-to oil. It's something I diffuse. It's something I put on my wrist. I put on my wrist and fall asleep to it. It's just great. I love it. So in terms of emotions, it's very balancing and strengthening for me. Yeah, makes me feel like a freaking warrior ready to take on the world. So I love that one. So lemon I find is really clearing emotionally. Diffusing it is awesome. I find it's very clearing, and I was thinking about it. I was like, how would I describe like my experience with lemon? And it's very uplifting. And I thought like, oh, uplifting. And then I thought about this experience that I had with a plantarwort. It literally uplifted and derooted my plantarwort. I put it on for 2 weeks. I had this huge plantarwort so bad that I had to stop going to yoga. It hurt so bad I couldn't even practice anymore. And this is when I was really into yoga. And so I just couldn't even practice. And I actually, at the time, I wasn't a member of Young Living, but I used all the Young Living products, but I was so desperate. I like hadn't ordered like another bottle. I just went to Whole Foods and got a bottle of like Now Lemon or whatever they have at Whole Foods. Cause I was just like, I want to start tonight and get rid of it. So I tried that and it didn't work at all. I did it for 2 weeks because I read that's what you do with the plantar warts. I like Googled natural solutions for plantar warts. Not just any lemon oil worked because that didn't work at all. And then I got a new bottle of lemon oil from Young Living. I put it on a wart, just literally just the oil dabbed on there with like a cotton ball or like a Q-tip. Every night, put a Band-Aid on, a sock over it. I did it in the morning and the night and it fell off within 2 weeks. I could not believe it. I was like, huh? So that was amazing. So these really do work. They're very powerful medicine and I'm really practical. Even though I'm a Pisces, I'm actually really practical and I love things to work and this stuff works. So I love having a really clear example with the lemon too. And then the citrus fresh is really amazing to just diffuse. I know a lot of people use it in cleaners too, to like degrease and like it just feels like it cuts through. That's what I think about when I think about it emotionally. It just kind of cuts through things and kind of like woo, like wakes you up out of any sort of fog that I might be in. Just kind of like reminds me of the levity of life, which is really nice. It is really fresh. That's like a good word to describe it. So diffusing, that's really awesome. And then I have actually used it on my face. I was remembering this. I use other oils on my face now, but I've used it on my face before, the citrus fresh, like in just a drop or two in whatever oil you use or whatever lotion face stuff you use, you can just drop it in there and it's very clearing and really like feels like it just freshens my skin. It did make my skin a little sensitive, so I wouldn't like go to the Bahamas the next day or anything and stay in the sun for 12 hours, but it's really like made it a little like photosensitive, but it was really awesome. And I did have a good experience when I did that for a little bit. So yeah, there's just so many fun ways to use the oils. And I love that I got to talk about some that I've used and that I really love. So I'm going to hand it off now, drum roll, to Sam. She's not in the same room as us, so I can't like just move the computer, but go Sam.
Hi everybody. Nope, I am not in the same room as them and I'm a Virgo. I don't know what all my other ones are, but I know I'm a Virgo and Scorpio's in there too. Okay, so I'm super excited to be chatting about emotions tonight because I typically chat about how Young Living and the essential oils and all the non-toxic products have helped my autoimmune issues tremendously. So I'm always talking about anti-inflammatory this and my arthritis that and psoriasis and all that stuff. But with all of those diagnoses come a lot of emotions, like a lifetime of them. And I suffer from anxiety, which isn't something that I talk that much about. And when Gina asked me to present on these 3 oils, I was like, wow, I actually use these daily to help my nervous system, which in turn helps my autoimmune issues kind of like relax, you know, and I'm not in that like heightened fight or flight state. So the 3 that I'm going to be presenting on are Raven, well, here they are, Raven, Panaway, and Digize. So I'm going to start with Digize. I actually use it topically. You can also do it internally and you can diffuse it too. But I put it in a roller with peppermint and I actually use it on my stomach. I roll it in a like a circular motion around my belly button and it actually helps to calm my anxious stomach. So I wake up with like stomach aches a lot and there's a big gut brain connection and a lot of our emotions are stored in our gut. And I really didn't make the connection about anxiety and what that does to your digestive system and why I was going to this oil so much. You just find yourself going to oils and then all of a sudden, like at first I didn't like the smell and now I love the smell. Excuse me, now I love the smell. And yeah, this really makes my stomach feel calmer and ready for the day. And it also helps get my appetite going because sometimes when you have bad anxiety, it impacts your appetite too. So Digize for the win when it comes to an anxious belly. Also, it helps with like motion sickness, you know, chronic, anything like constipation, diarrhea, all the digestive stuff. If you have food poisoning, like it just helps with all digestion. So I love that one for that reason. And then the other one that I love is Panaway. Now this I initially went to for the arthritis that I have, but I found that when I was using it like on my temples and just like around like my jawline and my neck and the areas that you hold tension, I actually labeled my little roller tension tamer because, again, with the nervous system and, you know, my anxiety and just always that heightened thing, I find myself tensing up a lot. So this just literally helps the tension like melt away. So I put it on different points. And if you picture like your nervous system, it's like your spine, right? And then it goes out. So I picture like, okay, where am I holding tension, right? And then I just do like a little body scan, and then I'll just, you know, pop the roller off, and then I just do that. And then another thing I always like to say about when I want to use oils for these types of reasons, or even the physical stuff, inflammation and everything, when I use them topically, I also like to diffuse them. It's important to do both modalities. I really think that that's important because it helps to the two delivery systems really just help to kind of enhance the benefits. So I love Panaway for anywhere that I have tension, and I also pair that with Peppermint in the roller. And then the other one that I am going to present on is Raven. So Raven, I know everybody loves Valor for courage, but Raven to me, that's what I go to. I've always put it right here in my roller. I put it right here. And when I was teaching yoga before COVID, I just found myself going to that all the time, and I didn't know why. And then I come to find out that grief is stored in your lungs. So I was working through some things, and that I was just subconsciously always going to that. So now that's my go-to for anxiety and courage. That's my spirit animal oil, is Raven. And I can go on and on about them, but I'm going to pass it on to Heather because I know my time's up.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Sam. And it's so great to be here. Thank you, Gina, for asking me. I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to share about my experience with using these oils. And I actually never really thought about, you know, using them like emotionally, but then I think about it, and I have been using them emotionally for my emotions. And the first thing that came to me when Gina asked me to share, I was like, frankincense. Like, that's my go-to oil that actually has been helping me a lot. I have a really like pretty solid meditation experience. So, you know, I do meditation every day, and I've been using it in my meditation. And I basically just I have it on a roller, but, you know, I'll take even a couple drops and I'll just rub it in my hands, and I'll just take a few deep breaths. And I tend to really have like a lot of anxiety and a lot of like, just like nervous kind of flighty kind of energy. So it really helps me ground down so much. And it kind of brings in for me like another meaning to the frankincense, like some like higher spirit. It feels very, I know it has kind of a history, and I know Mackenzie will talk about frankincense more in depth, but it does have that biblical history to it. So I've been interested and fascinated by like, what is frankincense all about? And I've used it a lot in hospice with my, initially with my father passing, and we put it on his temples, and it just brought in this like sacred kind of space, and it was really powerful. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I brought it in with my grandmother passing, and we put it on her temples, and it just kind of like, it takes on this like sacred space. And so recently, like a few weeks ago, my cat was like, you know, really sick, and I had to rush him to the vet. And normally it would be like this, like, I was kind of like, I was really sad. I was concerned. I didn't know what was going on with them. I was kind of like freaking out. And I just had this instinct to just grab frankincense, and it like, I put it on my temples. I put it like, I even just put it straight up on my face because it's so good for your face. So I love that too. But I just kind of, it just starts filling up like wherever you are, you know, you start putting the oil on, and it just kind of like gives me this space. And I felt like I was able to drop into, okay, having a spiritual experience. Like, if this cat is supposed to pass, I will be, oh, that's okay. Like, I didn't know if he was close to passing or not, but it sure felt like it. And I felt like the frankincense helped bring in like more of a spiritual experience to the process, rather than just like, okay, like he's sick and I'm really upset about this. So it felt like an amazing tool to use like in life. And that's what's so cool about these oils is like, you know, actually applying them to your life, like applying them in my meditation or grabbing them. I would have never thought that coming into this, because I initially came to help with like my headaches, and I use peppermint all the time. And I love Panaway because Panaway is really great for all the tension I hold in my neck and my shoulders. So that was kind of like, this has kind of been an amazing perk because, you know, it's just incredible how much these oils are so versatile, and like they just keep giving, and I keep learning more about like what their uses are and how to incorporate them, because sometimes I'm not typically gravitated to a certain oil at that time, but later on at a certain time when I'm more open to experimenting with an oil, I'll actually start to love it. So I wasn't that way initially with frankincense, but I've been using it so much these days, and it's kind of my go-to. And it's just been extremely helpful, I think, kind of bringing in like a new energy. And I just really, I wanted to share that today. So, and I'm gonna pass it off to Mackenzie.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And I heard a lot of my personal story in that. Hi, my name's Mackenzie. I'm super stoked to be here with all of you beautiful women. Oh my gosh, you're all so powerful. I love this. So I will be sharing on frankincense, stress away, and peace and calming. I'm actually out of my peace and calming, which is why I do not currently have it in front of me. So frankincense. I'll be super honest. Initially, whenever I first got the starter kit, I wasn't jazzed about it because I didn't like the way it smelled. But there was another woman, I believe it was Sam, who was sharing about how you eventually are like drawn to like the oils you need. I am incredibly paraphrasing, but that is what I got out of it. So eventually I kept like, well, I'm going to give it a try. And then I've heard many other women share that it's great in their meditation practice. And I have had a meditation practice for quite some time. And once I started putting 2 drops in my hand, rubbing my hands together and taking deep breaths while I meditated, it took my meditation practice to an entirely new level. Like I can't even explain, like it opened up the portal to like new spiritual experiences. The other thing that I love about Valor so much, or not Valor, frankincense so much is that it has a lot of healing properties. So my mother, who is the person in this world whom I love the most, she lives with chronic pain that is incurable, that doctors have said there is literally nothing that can be done. She just has to deal with it. So once I got involved with Young Living, I did some research and I discovered that, you know, frankincense has a lot of healing properties. So I made her a roller blend with frankincense, Panaway, tea tree oil, and peppermint. And it is sometimes the only way that she can go to sleep at night because her nerve pain is so bad that like she can't sleep. So, you know, I do that for her now all the time. And it feels so good to be able to give that to her, knowing that there is nothing else that medically can be done. And it just shows how powerful these oils are. And also, like, I'm not wearing any face makeup right now. Y'all, this is the best my skin has ever looked. And I've seen a dermatologist for years. This stuff is incredible. Like, this is like credit to my skin. Now, Stress Away. Stress Away is also one of my favorite oils. Like a lot of other women have shared, I suffer from anxiety. I have my whole life. I also, you know, have some PTSD and just other things emotionally that, you know, have been a struggle because, you know, life is hard. And you know what? 2020 has been hard. This has been a crazy year. So what I do, I always have stress away on me. If when I get overwhelmed, I'll put a little bit right here above my lip. I'll also rub some on my temples. I'll take a deep breath of it. Another great thing that another beautiful woman in this room taught me is to put it in your hair. And Gina actually like words this so much better than me. So whenever you put it in your hair, it absorbs through the blood-brain barrier a lot quicker. So I put it in my hair after I get out of the shower. It's refreshing. And honestly, like I have noticed that my hair just looks a little bit healthier when I do that. So, oh, and also I diffuse this at night because this is the only way I can sleep is with stress away diffusing. Now, as far as peace and calming goes, I mostly use it aromatically. I like to put it in a spray bottle and spray it in my house right before I have company because it creates a warm atmosphere. Not to mention it calms down the pups. I have, yes, I just said her, you know, I said her name and she perked up. I have an 80-pound lab and a 5-pound poodle. So my household is as interesting as it sounds. And what I will do whenever the lab gets crazy, I will actually take some peace and calming. I will rub it on her spine and on the very top of her head. And what I love about Young Living's oils is I can trust the quality of them because prior to this, I wouldn't even buy them at the drugstore because I had always been taught that they were toxic to pets and you should never ingest them. And you know, I think that says a lot to Young Living when the quality is pure and this high that it is safe. And it's something that I can diffuse all day and I'm not worried about my pets. I can put it on them and I know that they're safe. Plus it just makes having house guests a lot easier. So I actually think that I went over time. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. It has been an honor to be here. And with that, I will pass the torch to Louise Davina. I am so sorry. I think I butchered your name and I apologize, but what a beautiful name.
You're still muted, Luz.
Me? Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Oh, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. My camera went away. Anyway, I'm Luz and Gina asked me to, thank you ladies. That's been amazing. I've learned a lot. But she asked me to come on here and give my testimony and I have a couple of them that really brought me into the oil, using the essential oils. I've used essential oils for over 15 years, not Young Living, other stuff, but I didn't really know too much about them. I just was using them because I knew they were good. And backtracking to my story. So I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have 3 kids, but my 13-year-old daughter was has an autoimmune disease. She's got Crohn's disease, and so due to that, and she's had it from birth. She's had a lot of health issues and a lot of health problems. And at one point, the doctors basically told me that she her lifespan would be to about 20 to 25 years old. With the fact that she just was struggling so much with her health and eating and her digestion and all that. So anything she had, along with Crohn's, she had celiac and irritable bowel, and so everything that has to do with your intestinal tract and intestinal issues, she had it. And so everything she ate, everything she touched, everything just didn't agree with her body. So her body rejected pretty much everything. And I saved some things just to show, because when you have a baby, a little one, that basically her breakfast is medication before she can even touch food, and she barely touches food, it's heartbreaking and it's hard, and it's I mean, I don't know if any of you guys can relate, but it's very hard to watch your children suffer in that way, and you feel hopeless. You feel like you can't help them in any way. And so that's where my little girl was. And you know, when she was in the hospital at one point, they introduced me to the oils. And Gina, I was messing with the camera, so I didn't put my timer on. Would you let me know when my 5 minutes are up? But anyway, so she, you know, in the hospital, a nurse introduced me to the essential oils, and she just kind of said, you know, look into these, give them to her, and that was it. And then I never heard from her again. So that's kind of how I was introduced. But you know, there was one time when they had told me that she didn't have a very long lifespan, and I thought to myself, there's got to be more to this. You can't sit here and watch your daughter just like think, okay, so I'm going to plan for her funeral. Like, this is not okay. There's got to be more to life than this. And I say this because this is literally what she lived off of right here. You know, she had to take all that medication every day to survive, to be able to have a functional life. And when I was introduced to Young Living a while back, I had already, like I said, been doing essential oils with her, had changed her diet, had her going. When Young Living came into our life through a wonderful friend of mine, I really started learning and diving into the reality of what essential oils really were, and how to support her and her, not just her emotions, but her entire body. So that's when we really made a big drastic change. And long story short, she is now completely off all those medications, and she's only on her oils, and she takes supplements to support her gut health and her emotions and all that stuff. She has tremors and she suffers from anxiety. And so through these wonderful oils, she's been able to completely, you know, or give her life a longer span and a more quality life. Like, she's able to be a kid now. She can, you know, eat a potato chip and it's not going to kill her. And so it's just amazing to me that, you know, just making that choice and that life change, just something so, I mean, it seems hard, but it's so simple, can change your entire world and your entire life. And then when I really came to love the oils, I mean, really just was convinced that this was it, that this is amazing, was when I had my car accident in January. I had a really bad car accident that left me disabled. And so because of my car accident, I have, and I don't know if you guys can see, but I have a lot of damage on my neck right here. It's pretty swollen, but this is broken. My rotator cuff is separated. I have a lot of tears in my joint, in my ligaments, and this muscle is torn, and I have ruptured discs in my back. So I have a lot going on my body. And through the essential oils and our CBD, I've been able to stay off of the narcotics and the pain medication, and been able to function where I'm actually able to get out of bed and have a quality life still, and still be in pain, because you're still in pain. It doesn't, you know, it's not, those things aren't going to heal themselves. I need surgeries to heal me, but I can live a quality life, and I can be here present in the moment for my daughter, for those around me, without having to live off narcotics and sit in bed and not be able to move all day. because essentially, I mean, there's days where it does happen, but you know, it's very few, far and in between. And that's when I really, really basically just developed my love for these oils and said, this is it. This is what my life's going to be. And just watching the quality of life that my daughter has now, where she, even her, like she suffers from anxiety so bad that because of her tremors, and she could just grab like an oil like frankincense. A lot of the ladies talked about that, and peppermint, and she knows what to grab now that is going to help calm that and help her actually focus and calm those things down. You know, right now, I mean, she was a kid that couldn't even have a functional life in school, and she's a straight A student now. She does horse training and horse competitions, and she's just has an amazing life now because of these wonderful oils. And so yeah, and I am able to function properly with these oils as well and not be in pain 24/7, sitting at home, not being able to move. But anyway, I'm not sure if my time's up, Gina, but thank you, ladies, for having me, and I will pass it back to Gina.
Yay, thank you so much, Luz. It was so good to hear you and so good to hear everyone. Wow, I learned a lot and just felt so affected by hearing everyone's stories and experiences. So we are going to close out the call, but I did just want to say, because I didn't mention it in the beginning, but people did mention it throughout the shares, it is so important if you're new to oils. There is a difference between Young Living's essential oils and just essential oils that you even get at the organic market. There are no regulations on essential oils in the United States. So literally an essential oil can have 5 to 10% essential oil. The rest can be cheap filler or solvent. It can be sprayed with pesticides and chemicals, and it can be labeled 100% pure therapeutic grade. So when you're using essential oils like we're talking about medicinally, you want to be using a company like Young Living. So if you don't have a starter kit yet, whoever invited you to this class, just reach out to them and they can help get you started. It's the best way to get started. And then I wanted to leave just some space at the end of the class if anyone had any specific questions, and you can just put them in the chat and I can kind of look. Yeah. Oh. Heather, so what is good for PTSD and security? So my experience, and this is kind of crazy, they're all in the starter kit. I use the Frankincense, Valor, and Stress Away the most for PTSD, and then also Peppermint, because sometimes when the flashbacks come, it can take you out of, you know, it takes you to a different reality and your whole nervous system gets shocked, just like how it did in the moment of whatever trauma you went through. So for me, Peppermint can help ground me back into the present, but then also an oil like Valor or Stress Away or Frankincense is really incredible to calm the nervous system, because that's what happens when you have PTSD, is your nervous system is getting jolted when those flashbacks do come back. So that's how I use, those are the oils that I use pretty specifically for the PTSD. Sierra, what was the oil used for grief? Oh, Sam spoke about Raven being really good for grief, for the because grief can be stored in the lungs. And then also all of those emotional support oils are also amazing for grief as well. Peace and calming, Stress Away. What CBD does everyone recommend? I heard the muscle rub was great for physical pain, but haven't tried it. Yes, that is the CBD that everyone is speaking about, is Young Living's CBD muscle rub. Oh, and then Mackenzie said bergamot is great for panic attacks. That's good to know. I love Valor and Peace and Calming for this topically. Okay. And then Alicia, the 600, is that the milligrams or something of the, yeah. Okay, so nightmares. Oh yeah, this is one that I really struggled with. I mean, yeah, I think that having those oils that we spoke about diffusing before you go to bed, I make sure that my diffuser is running 30 minutes before I go to bed. And then I also use the oils topically. And also the Vitality line is really incredible to take internally. Frankincense can calm the nervous system taken internally. Same with lavender. So those are great options as well to support your system before you're going to bed. Okay. Yeah, I would say all of those for the night sweats too, just because you're supporting your nervous system as well. And I mean, hopefully can help support that as well. What do you suggest for someone working to wean off antidepressants? You know, I feel like that might be something that you could, there's specific people in our team who have done that, but maybe that could be a question that could be offline, that whoever invited you here, ask them to connect you. I know I've spoken to people in our team who have transitioned off of them, but it might be something to connect with them, get connected with them one-on-one offline. And important to do it with medical professionals as well, not on your own. Okay. Yes, exactly. Lindsay just said that. Do it under doctor's supervision. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. Okay. I think that's everything. Thank you guys so much for an amazing class. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll all connect soon. Bye.
Hey, Gina.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Gina.
Awesome.
So awesome.
Thanks, Gina.
Thanks, Gina.